Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can teach your dog to go to a mat and stay there until you release them. My name is Barbara Patterson. Welcome to Namib Dog Training. Okay, maybe you have not actually ever wished that you could send your dog to a mat. Why would we train that behavior? Well, it's actually super useful. When visitors come to your house, do your dogs get super excited and are a bit of a pain? Then it's super useful if you can send them to their mats and they can calm down and settle a little bit while the visitors sit down and then they can greet each other. Or maybe you have one of these attention-seeking dogs that is constantly trying to make you do something with them. So again, while you maybe want to work on the computer, so you can send them to their mat and they can hang out there until you are ready for them. And then also, once you've taught your dog to hang out on the mat and they have value for that and know what is expected of them, you can then use this when you take your dog to other places. That could be the vet's office, or it could be taking the dog to the coffee shop or the restaurant. If you think about it, go to your mat consists of several smaller behaviors that are all bunched together into one big one. And when we want to train a biggish behavior like that, it's best practice to split it into several smaller behaviors. So let's think about this. First of all, we need the dog to go to the mat. Then we want them to stay there. And then we need to teach them when to get off the mat. And the good news is that we actually only have to teach two things: to get on the mat and when to come off the mat. The stay is just the time in between. Let's go and train. So at first we want to make it really easy and set our dog up for success. So we use a really large blanket. And you just call the dog across the blanket and mark with a yes when he's on it, and then toss the reward away from the blanket. That way you can then have another chance at earning a new reward. And if your dog doesn't want to go to the blanket, you can help a little bit by moving with him.
Yes. Search. Yes. Search.
And then when your dog is really good at this and had lots of cookies for finding the big blanket, you can make the blanket smaller. And you just do the same thing. You're on the one side, he comes over the blanket, mark with a yes, and toss the cookie away from the blanket. And you notice I use the word search to give my dog permission to chase the cookie. So you want to play this until you feel your dog is really seeking out the blanket to get the cookie. You can increase the distance, move away from the blanket. That makes it harder for the dog to choose to go there. And then you can clearly see that he has value for going to the blanket. Now it's time to reward on the blanket and to add the release cue. I use the word break.
Break. Search.
So I just give the cookie now to the dog on the blanket, and then I say break, and then search, and he chases the cookie.
Yes.
And he just has to be on the blanket with all four paws. It doesn't matter what position.
Break. Search. Good boy.
And please remember to play with your dog in between to keep it fun. Now, if you have a dog bed that has high sides like this one, then I would still use the blanket to teach the dog the behavior, and then put the blanket inside the dog bed to help him transition.
Good.
So in the beginning, we release the dog almost immediately, but now we can slowly increase the duration, or we can add a distraction. but only change one thing at a time.